quick one, starting on project number 5, kind of project printed number 5, which is the NightCrawler from U3D Print Shop. Really amazing model, even cooler base, which I'll come to once it's dried. And yeah, I just wanted to give a quick summary because I got a bit focused on the base paints and did a few things. So I just want to give a quick summary of where I am so far. So for the black, I primed the whole model in a light grey, just standard automotive primer. I've then used the a silicon grey, essentially like the dark grey or black contrast paint on top of that. I then covered up the hands, or the white hands and feet, in grey cere, and then I've coated them with the contrast white. After that, I've applied all the red with a Mephiston red base. And then finally, the skin is a Calgar blue, and I've kind of mixed up into the hair, sort of merging the two with Aldorf blue. And it's also Calgar blue for the skin on the tail. From that point, I wasn't particularly happy with contrast paints, as I'm still working them out, and I still don't think that they are really a replacement for painting. But I do think they can help create some additional shades. So what I've done on the black is I've primed it with grey, painted it with the black, and then mixed together a very cheap black and white paint to make sort of multiple shades of grey, as you might see there. And I've essentially started doing a dry brush, building up these colours. It's what I'd say is more of a solid grey. The reason I went up a little bit lighter on grey, I know this meant to be black, is the fact that now, once I've done all of this, I want to apply a black wash. So for that, I use a dipping formula, and I mix it 50-50 with an airbrush thinner, just because it's way too thick and way too glossy. And now I literally just want to fill my brush and coat the entire model, excluding the skin. I mean, I don't care if I get it on, I can neaten it up, but I'm just trying to get the entire model red and black. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep, red, black and white. I'm not sure if I'll keep it on the red or if I'll go over with a red wash, but for now I'm just going to cover the whole model because it's just a lot easier. And when you're happy, just want to put it in a position that seems logical for the paint to flow. I always find upside down is usually better. Okay, and I'll just pop that to the side to let that sort of, I say, drip dry. Now that the the dipping formula wash has dried, just created a bit of depth, but it looks a complete mess, so I acknowledge that. I've got a bit of the black and the white acrylic again, a bit of tissue for just to dry off my brush. I just want to mix them in the middle, giving myself a what would I class it as? A dark grey, probably something like charcoal. Just taking most of it off on the brush. As I said, I usually on the first one, because I tend to neaten up a lot, put on quite a heavy dry brush. So now I just want to start building that up over the model. Switched up to a bigger brush now, just kind of working around. Hopefully you can see it's just kind of neatened up all the black. I've gone up to more of a grey now, just because I've realised I want to create a bit of a shadow of the purple from the cloud coming off the base. I'll bring it out in a moment. And so yeah, I think if it's too dark, I won't really be able to get any of that purple to show. So I do want to build it up a bit more. So I'm now just dunking in a bit of the white, whilst my brush has still got loads of the grey in the bristles, just so essentially it's going to lighten it up a bit. And I'm now just going to be a little bit more focused in certain areas. And for all the white areas now, you can probably see this brush is now turning a very, very light grey, but I can start that off as my first layer, and hopefully for the next time I wash it off, it will be pure white, so I can be a bit more focused. Hopefully you can see now that even though I'm still putting white into exactly the same brush, so I haven't cleaned it out at all since before. It is pretty much coming off as a clear white now as I go over. So I can really now start to build up these sort of creases and some of the key lines with a much more pronounced white. So now I'm done with all that. I literally just want to go back and neaten up the reds. Arguably don't need to paint the red in. I just have a thing about getting the bases on, just kind of making sure I feel happy with the colour scheme, and if there's anything else I'd want to change, just a habit I got into. But yeah, as you can see, most of it's been completely damaged, so I'm going to go over pretty much all of it. If I can, like if I feel like I can leave some black that works in my favour, I will do. But overall, I intend to go over everything I see here. Right, so now that the red's dried, literally just going to slap on some of the Carabao Crimson shade, so a red shade wash. So it's pretty much dry, a little bit. I actually did go very lightly with a second coat under some of the packs just to make them a bit more pronounced. I've now got my Mephiston red again, watered down. I mean, ideally wait for it all to dry, but I'm hoping by the time I've got to this part, it will be a bit more so. And just with my watered down Mephiston, I'm essentially just going to pick out all the parts. Again, I'm not going to be overly focused or overly neat on it, but just kind of working my way around, do the main parts first, and then I kind of come back afterwards and see what else I've missed or what I think kind of looks wrong. I find that's the best way to go about it, is you kind of get your painting done, come back from take a step back and say, actually no, this part just doesn't particularly look right. Okay, well, I'm pretty happy with the red now. Probably like 8 or so minutes just going around. A few bits I want to neaten up, but I always find there's a point where you just have to say stop because you're going to work up some other colours, so hopefully that will kind of do most of the work for you. But I do kind of want to make sure that all those major shapes are there before I move on to the next colour. So next colour is my Evilson Scarlet. I'll be honest, I probably don't want to teach them to suck eggs, but it's just basically picking out the points at the highest part of the model, or the highest part of each of the shapes. Again, I've watered it down quite heavily, and I just want to kind of define these lines. I'm happy for the lines to be quite thick because I do have one other red I can build this up to, but I don't want to take up too much of the space with it. Okay, yeah, I think that will do for the moment. And now I just want to jump up to the last layer, just some literally touches of red to add a bit of highlight. As I said, if I'm dry brushing over a vast majority of this, I'm not too worried. I just, just a quick way to get a bit of flavour on the different colours. So I'll just a little bit more watered down than this because I really don't want this to show up too much. So now I'm just hitting all the central pieces. Haven't even bothered to straighten out my brush. Kind of like this messy effect sometimes. Okay, I think that'll do for the red now. Yeah, so it still looks a little messy in places, and I probably changed my mind on how I wanted to do the red. As probably saw on the last layer, I got a bit scratchy, so ended up a bit messier than planned. But it's also quite vibrant, so I like that. Now, for the moment, I'm just going to go back around with my Calgar blue and neaten up all of the skin. The blue's now dried, and I've just got some blue shade, so once again slap on the fast forward, but I'm just going to cover everything from the skin and the hair with this blue. I will be just as neat as I was when I was putting on the blue. Or if that's dry. I have been debating about what I want from the X, because when I look at NightCrawler online, I actually strangely haven't found anywhere he has particular X on his chest, and if it is, it's in red and black, which I really don't like. So I then debated between the black background and either yellow or gold, but I don't know why. I think I'm just going to go with gold because I think I prefer that effect. Putting it on, I have changed my mind and I'm going to go with yellow. So now, instead, I'm going to use Avalanche Sunset as a base for the yellow. I find if you don't have a yellow base it with white, because painting over pretty much any other colour with yellow is a nightmare. Right, so I'll come back to the logo in a moment, but now that the face is dried, I've gone back to the Calgar blue, which is already quite a thin layer of paint, but I've still watered it down. And essentially as before, I'll speed this up, but I just want to go around and neaten up all the colours. Before I go there, I've just put some of the Calgar blue on a dry brush, and I'm just going to work that up onto the hair as well. Just to set it, because if I hit it on the skin, it's not really going to make much difference, so I might as well just use this opportunity before I start building up the colour of the skin. So I've now added a little bit of white into the Calgar blue, just off in the palette. It's again watered down, and I just want to start building this colour up a little bit. So I've only just put a tad of blue in there, so it shouldn't be too noticeable. Well, probably will be on the camera, and it is to me, but I'm hoping once it dries it won't be too noticeable, because I do want to add one more layer of white in to really kind of add a bit of sharpness to his face. Okay, so really starting to bring out that sort of range of colours in his face. Now, before I go into the eyes, I just want to, as I usually do, just bring some of the colours together. As I said, I usually find some of the blue shades can be a bit too dark, especially for things like skin. So I'm now just going to go back to this Calgar blue. Pretty much what I have ready. Really watered down though now. Like I just want it to lightly tint some of these darker tones. So yeah, as you can see, it's so translucent. It's not covering up the darkness. It just hopefully is giving it slightly lighter blue tint over it, and just hopefully making some of those deeper recesses less stark on the face. But overall, I think that's just taken away some of that really stark contrast, but you've still got that the shading of 3, if not more, colours now. So once that's dried, my plan is to come back, just do the eyebrows and the lips just for the sake of, so I can work out the face, then do the eyes, finish off the skin, well, sorry, then the teeth, and then finish off the skin. Yeah, so I had a quick look, and it seems eyebrows and lips are just a darker tone of the skin. So I've got the slightly darker blue, which is Out Off Guard blue. And I'm now just going to very quickly paint in the lips and the eyebrows. While I'm at it, actually, I've taken some Xandri dusts and I'm popping that onto the teeth. Now I'm just going to add some white onto the eye. And once they're both dry, I will add a second coat. So the idea now for the eyes is that I want to go around with the yellow. So I want to create obviously a yellow circle, then add in a little bit of highlights of lighter yellow, and then I'm going to come in with a contrast yellow just to bring some shadow into some of the corners of that circle. Okay, so now you can see the contrast is sitting there. Bit of a dollop, but I'm hoping when that dries on top of the 2 shades of yellow, it'll create quite a nice contrast before I add in the black dot. So I'll let that dry and then I'll come back. And whilst that's drying, I'm just going to use some Seraphim Sepia. So just worth noting that off camera I did add the black dot and the white dot, and I just neatened up the teeth a little bit and the skin. So nothing major, just do struggle to get the eyes on camera. Just to get things kind of matching, I've now got the tail as well. Remembering the tail will be facing this way. I've gone back to my Calgar blue, a little bit on the brush, so I'll make it to a dry brush. And I just plan to quickly dry brush this with the Calgar blue, add a bit of white onto the brush, and then just build that up a little bit as well. Right, so I've now mixed up some Calgar blue with the white, watered down, a smaller brush. So here now I really just want to start picking out the finest details on this model. Actually, I think that's still a little bit too thick. Okay, so I think I'm happy with that kind of tone, but I find that the contrast is quite a lot. I'm not sure if I like it or I don't, if I'm honest. I'm going to leave it for the moment, and if need be, I might try and bring those darker tones up a little bit further. For some reason my camera stopped. I added some tiny bit of a shabty bone to the teeth to try and lighten them up a tiny bit, but I'm not saying I'm happy yet, so I will probably come back. For the moment, I've just got some watered down plain white, and I'm just going to go around and neaten up all the white areas on the hands and feet. Now it's dried, I'm literally just going to repeat the process with the Avalan Sunset. So the base yellow. Okay. And now I'm just going to jump up to, and ideally whilst it's still a little bit wet, jump up to a much brighter yellow. So I've now mixed together the Flash Glitz yellow, so the highest yellow, and some white. And because I'm going to put a yellow glaze over this, I'm just going to hit some of those sharpest corners with a pretty much a straight white. There might be a little bit of yellow in there, but so now just want to kind of hit some of those points just so adds a bit of sharpness to the colour. Now that's dry. I will neaten up with some black in just a moment, but before I do, I just find that sometimes these yellows can end up looking a bit pastely, and I do find that a nice yellow glaze can add a little bit of shine, and because it is a logo, I think I want it to have a bit of a glaze to it as well. So I'm still going to stick with my small brush. I'm not too worried if I get it on the black. I'm just going to have to try and I might have to neaten it up afterwards, but overall I'm just going to put this over the entirety of the logo. I did touch up with a little bit of a black acrylic just to neaten it up a bit, and now I've got some of the black dipping formula, or black ink, mixed with water, and I'm now just very carefully going to go around the edge of the logo. I just find that that kind of helps make it stand out, pop a little bit. Yeah, as I said, because this has quite a large base, as I've shown, and I want to do a lot of work on the mist, and then once I'm done, I'm then going to kind of take that colour and start applying it from the back of the model and around. So I think I'm done now for NightCrawler. I've got the tail as well. I'm not going to put it all together until I finish the base. So for now, I think I'm happy with where we are.